Are you the one called the storyteller?
No.
Storyteller.
Swedish fish?
Come on.
Just go in there.
Swedish fish?
Destroy him. That's all you have to do.
It's a Swedish fish.
Stop him. Destroy the storyteller. Destroy
It's a
him now.
Swedish fish.
Oh, sorry about that. I dozed off. Oh, it's been a crazy week. Anyway, this week I am looking at a modern-day retelling of the story of Joseph. Is it worth watching? Find out when I look at Seasons of Grey on this week's Indy Christian Review. The story of Joseph, the second youngest son of Israel, is very well known, even if your only church background is going to Sunday school as a kid. Seasons of Grey is a modern-day adaptation of that story. It came out in 2013 and stars Andrew Chaney, who would then go on to star in Beyond the Mask, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. Now, because the original story is so well known, I don't feel I need to really go into too much detail on the story of the movie, because they actually do pretty good of point-by-point following the original story, albeit in a different setting. One thing I appreciate, though, is that they went with all original names for the characters and places. They didn't use the original names as, like, puns or anything. There's no Mr. McPotiphar or anything like that. For example, he's not named Joseph here, he's Brady Gray. Also, there are fewer brothers to keep it a slightly more modern standard of large families. In this movie, the Gray family are ranchers in Texas. I feel like they did a really good job of hitting those key story moments while wrapping it all in a context that works really well for a real-world, modern-day setting. Other than it being emblazoned on the DVD cover that this is based on the story of Joseph and the whole based on a true story slide at the beginning of the movie, you could go into this not knowing what it was based on, and it would still work. Probably the only giveaway is the fact that they do preserve the aspect of Brady being able to interpret dreams, and it's a very integral part of the story. But they also make sure that it's very clear that this is a gift he's been given from God. It's not some psychic power or clairvoyance or whatever. And the gospel is very much tied into this story of using the story of Joseph as a foreshadowing of the story of Christ. And that's something that's very unique in this movie compared to other versions of the story that I've seen. Granted, the only other movies based on the story of Joseph I've seen are Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and the VeggieTales Old West version, The Ballad of Little Joe. The Technicolor Dreamcoat, while a fun musical, is completely devoid of any references to God, let alone Jesus. Joseph is basically just this guy who can magically understand dreams. And while the VeggieTales version doesn't shy away from the God connection, to the best I can remember, it doesn't go that next step of tying it into the story of Jesus. Plus, it's VeggieTales, so it's not exactly the most reverent retelling. I'm not saying that a Christian movie has to have a gospel message in it to be Christian, not at all. I'm just saying that I thought it was cool that Seasons of Grey took that extra step of making that connection. So, to rate this movie, I'd give both the acting and the writing 5s. Now, while the production design is great, the cinematography it's good, though I felt it just barely fell short of being top-notch. But it's consistent and certainly not bad at all, so I give the production values a 4. So overall, I would rate Seasons of Grey 4 out of 5. So this is 2 weeks in a row now that I've looked at Bible-based movies, each taking very different approaches. What do you think of films that put their own spin on Bible stories, faithful or otherwise? If you're watching this anywhere besides IndyChristianReview.com, head over there and leave a comment and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and consider becoming a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/storyteller. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to see if I can find someone to interpret that dream I was having earlier. May God bless you, and may God bless independent Christian films.